Celestia Quicks has a talent for documenting the exact moment a system looks you in the eye and says, "That's not my department," and then hangs up on you.
That's the territory today. One post that tracks a cascade of institutional failures, phishing, banking bureaucracy, telecom dead ends, and a living situation where the exits are all locked from the outside.
Let's start with the fraud that kicked all of this off.
The post opens on July 4th with a suspicious Capital One email, and the analysis goes straight to the authentication layer. Multiple DKIM signature failures alongside passing SPF and DMARC results. The post's conclusion: someone with access to Capital One's email infrastructure or exploiting a vulnerability in it is using their servers as a relay to make Gmail-sent phishing emails look legitimate.
So the upshot is the email looks real to every filter that matters, but the cryptographic signatures underneath tell a different story. The fraud is sophisticated enough to pass the front door while failing the deadbolt.
Rather than clicking anything, the response is to open a fresh browser window and log into Capital One directly. No new document exists. The last one was from February. The phishing lure is confirmed, and the email gets forwarded to abuse@capitalone.com with full headers attached.
Good instincts. Then July 8th arrives with an attempted charge of $819.75 from something called UNLV Tix Secure Call on a virtual card that was locked and restricted to a single vendor, threefeatherstobacco.com, since 2021.
The virtual card architecture is the key detail here. Each card is locked to one merchant. The attempted charge gets declined on two fronts simultaneously. The card was locked and the vendor didn't match. But the post makes the forensic point clearly. For a bot to push a transaction all the way to an issuer decline, it had to possess the complete credential package: card number, CVV, and expiration date.
Which means the breach isn't at Capital One, it's upstream, at the merchant.
That's exactly the conclusion. The post traces it to threefeatherstobacco.com and sends a formal data breach alert to their security team, copied to Capital One's abuse desk, citing MageCart-style skimmers and mandatory breach notification obligations. The logic is airtight. A merchant-locked token can only be exposed through that merchant's systems.
Meanwhile, calling Capital One to report the pattern produces its own disaster. The first representative hangs up because no charge actually cleared. The fraud department won't open an investigation without canceling the physical card. The post captures the circular logic precisely. Your physical card wasn't compromised, the virtual token was.
The card gets canceled anyway, under protest. Then the identity verification chain collapses entirely. SMS fails, push notification fails, a biometric selfie and ID flow finally works, and then the app rejects the password. A 2FA reset leads to another dead end. The post documents the recovery screen's demand: enter the credit card's CVV. There is no credit card.
The browser portal offers a different path, until it asks for a short code sent to the phone number on file, then says, "We cannot match your phone number to your name." That phone number is the 2FA number. The system is rejecting its own key.
A subsequent call surfaces the actual explanation. The phone number was added June 21st, and the system won't trust it until a back-end batch sync completes, potentially weeks away. The post calls this precisely what it is. That is not a safety precaution. That is lazy syncing of your front-end UI with your legacy back-end database.
The supervisor offers the same script, attempts a transfer to the wrong department, and when pressed on whether she can bring groceries to a homebound, terminally ill person locked out of her own account, hangs up.
The telecom layer compounds everything. A new number from US Mobile was supposed to be a clean start, but US Mobile cannot push custom caller ID data on its AT&T network card. Capital One's 2FA system queries the National Caller ID database, finds no name match, and blocks the shortcode. Switching to the Verizon network card through US Mobile would create a different problem. The MVNO's update wouldn't generate a proper provisioning ticket in Verizon's system, leaving the same mismatch. The Post frames this as a structural trap. For the sake of privacy, they lock you into phone number reputational damage.
The only clean path is a T-Mobile line, which requires cooperation from someone in the house who keeps finding reasons not to help, including the month before being too tired to move an oxygen concentrator 4 feet.
The Post is explicit about what that situation is. Adult Protective Services visited in February 2025 closed the case as relationship difficulties with a man who was a former spouse, not a current partner, and screened out a follow-up report in January 2026 with no investigation. The Post connects directly to a companion piece, the just leave fallacy, which addresses why just leave collapses as advice when every exit, independent relocation, Section 8, LIHTC waitlists, shelters, is structurally unavailable to someone who is terminally ill, oxygen-dependent, and immunocompromised.
APS didn't close the case because there was nothing wrong. They closed it because fixing it would require solving a problem their system isn't built to solve.
The Post also references Dismantling the Delusion, an essay about a family that responded to a domestic murder-suicide by constructing a conspiracy theory around it. Refusing to validate that conspiracy is what the family calls burning bridges, and it's the reason 10 empty rooms across California remain unavailable. The Post is clear on the framing. This isn't a matter of competing perspectives. These are documented facts, and the punishment for stating them plainly comes from every direction at once.
Systems that fail, then blame the person who noticed.
What holds all of this together is that the failures aren't random. They're structural. Every institution has a reason the problem isn't theirs to fix.
And the person doing the forensic work, writing the breach alerts, citing the statutes, mapping the telecom architecture, that's the same person locked out of her groceries. More to come from Celestia Quicks.